In this day and age, we know everything about everyone. We see everything on social media, and we feel like we're a part of their lives. And yet, actual human interaction seems like it's at an all-time low. Today's guest is a publicity powerhouse and the founder and CEO of Persona PR, an agency that she started when she was just 25 years old. Jordyn Palos works with some of Hollywood's biggest stars and has continued to expand her company and working with a diverse roster of clients like creators and creatives as well. Today we talk a lot about the importance of relationships and time in our industry and in our daily lives, and how Jordyn tackles challenges with some of her self-described zero-chill attitude to make moves as a badass mom and a badass entrepreneur. Let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, today I have the honor of having someone whom I've known for way more years than either of us would probably ever admit. I think we were like babies in the industry when we first met. I think the last time I saw you was at the Golden Globes, and we're like, hi, okay, love you, miss you, bye.
I was like, you look great, I'll see you later. I know. It's like always very quick.
Yeah. So obviously, you know, you've been in the game for a long time. You run an incredible company that I know has been a, wild and wonderful journey, as they always are. But I'd love to talk a little first, tell us about Persona and tell us a little bit about how did you get here?
Wow. It's been
a loaded question.
I know, loaded question. It's been 15 years. Can you believe that?
Holy cow. Yeah,
15 years since I started the compty.
I think I've known.
Young. I mean, I was 25. When I started Persona.
I mean, you still have balls, but you're fearless. That's incredible.
You know, I didn't have a lot to lose. So when I started the company, I was 25. I had worked at a smaller agency for about 4 years. Started right out of college, had an internship. When I graduated, the woman that I was working for, she couldn't hire me and pay me, so I still continued to intern. Was serving tables. I worked at Ashley Furniture as a marketing associate, but I knew I wanted to be in entertainment, and so I really fell into this job. I didn't know what publicity was. Yeah. I watched Entourage because back then in like 2002 to 2006, like that was like my window, 100%. So, and Sex and the City. So, Samantha Jones, publicist extraordinaire. That's really all I knew about PR. And so I worked for this woman, really small company, worked for her for about 4 years, and then quit and started my own agency. So this is in 2010. So, the housing market had crashed. I'm an old millennial. So we've lived through multiple
we knew
recessions,
dial-up
internet,
yes.
no cell phones, pagers.
Yep.
And so during that time, I just couldn't get a job. Yeah. So I had applied to like 30 different agencies, like different places, Guitar Center, Bank of America. Like I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And so when I started the company, it really was from necessity because I couldn't really get a job anywhere else. And so at the time, I was dating my now husband, and he was like, why don't you just start your own thing? And I do give him credit because he like really supported me in the beginning. Yeah. So I had my Jerry Maguire moment, and I called up all my clients, and I was like, who's coming with me? And I had like 10, 15 who were like, we'll come with you. And that's how I started my company. Wow. So it was literally like a weekend. So I called everybody on Thursday. On Friday, I had a website going because my husband made it for me. I just knew I had to look legit right out the gate. So I had this logo, which if you saw it now, you'd be like, what the heck? It was like Ed Hardy, like looked like a tattoo. I'll show you
need to bring
someday.
that shit back. You need to
I know.
Get,
I should like post it on my
T-shirts or something with the old logo.
It was so crazy. That's how I basically started the company, and that was 15 years ago. And so from then till now, I've learned so much just about being an entrepreneur, about mistakes, wins, hiring, firing, finding the right people that, can be a part of my company, and, signing the right clients and finding people that want to be a part of our story and our journey, and vice versa, how we want to support them. So it's really been, it's too much to talk about in one.
Sounds like a book.
One podcast, 100%.
Yes.
But it's, it's been the dream, and like I feel like every day I'm like living the dream, and even with the ups and downs, like I just feel so fortunate that I'm still here, like out of all the things that we've been through.
Well, and I think that is one of the things, right? It's when shit is crazy or when things are hard. And, you know, and I think the fact that you were younger, like you probably were a lot more fearless. Like you said, I have nothing
fear
to lose.
Yeah.
Like if you were, you know, fast forward here at our ages now, like would you have done the same thing? I don't know.
Would
Maybe.
you? Would you with your company?
I think so.
Because how many years have you had your company now?
I'm coming up on 9.
Yeah.
Like officially.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, our 10 years, January of 27.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I can't believe
Well, and I
that.
remember when I started, I think like, I feel like you and I went,
We
we
had
went to a
coffee.
little restaurant. Well, it was that little restaurant on La Brea.
Yes. It's
And I
still
had
there.
just started, and I remember, you know, just sitting down with you and like getting advice. And anyways, I'm grateful for that moment because now, you know, look here we are. And I think like that's one thing you never know,
Yeah.
right? And I want to dig much more into running a business and stuff. But to backtrack a little bit, Persona PR, you are publicist, right? It's a publicity firm. So can you break down a little bit for us, like what is a publicist and what does a publicity firm handle and do?
Sure. So it's interesting because I feel like there are so many different facets of publicity, right? And so there's what we do, which is talent representation. It's not just publicity because you could do fashion PR, you could do talent PR, you could do studio and network publicity. There's all these different types of publicists that you could be. So we are rooted in talent representation. And so we have to be experts in so many different things. So it's not just pitching and securing press for our clients, which is something that we do, but we are also the liaison between the studios and networks, or sometimes if it's a record label, or sometimes if it's like one of our creator clients and they have different brand deals happening. Sometimes it's clients that have written books. So we are pitching and securing press, but we're also dealing with all of these people.
Yeah.
We are in charge of their public persona, hence Persona PR. We handle their fashion. We handle their relationships with these brands and designers in conjunction with their stylists. We also have to know about social media now, which is a whole other conversation that we weren't even talking about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Or at least not in the way that we do now, right?
To give you credit, I work with so many PR firms in my line of work, and I think that's one thing that really does stand out about you and your firm is you guys get it. You're open, right? Because I think a lot of the biggest opportunities now are digital and social, right? And I think there are just some folks who have roles such as yourself that, you know, if it's not the Tonight Show, we're passing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the whole landscape of publicity has changed. And so, you know, when we talk about our jobs, we have to know so many different things. And it's not just the Tonight Show. It's not just Rolling Stone. It's not just, you know, something that you could have done, you know, 10 years ago, right? Like where there was a traditional PR campaign for some big movie star or whatever the case may be. They'd kind of hit these 3 or 4 things and that was their press run. And now it is completely changed and it's constantly changing. And so as a business owner, as a publicist, as, you know, someone who works in entertainment, we have to constantly be students of what's happening within not just our industry, but also in the media. Yeah. And if you follow, you know, trends or even just like what's happening within these major publications, I mean, layoffs are happening left and right. You know, there's one person who oversees 10 different titles. And so, you know, if we're pitching, these people are receiving hundreds of pitches a day. So how do we make ours stand out? Like those relationships matter even more now with these members of the media. So it's definitely fascinating, but it's a hard question to answer when it's like, well, what does a publicist do?
Well,
it's
like complex.
Yes,
Yeah. But I think, you know, broadly you are responsible for the public perception and not just perception. I think the public, like the reality of what is public facing of these people, right?
And what matters and what do people care about? I mean, that's part of it too. Everything's changed with social media.
And how do you think that social media has shifted the definition of star power, right? Because I think like one of the things that as publicists, right, that is kind of a piece of it, at least from my understanding, is right, talent want to be stars for the most part, or they want what is put out into the world to be positive and help to build their star. But social media has changed everything.
It's kind of wild. I can answer that, but a quick story just about sort of like my origin story.
Yeah.
So some of the first clients I ever signed were off of MySpace. which is kind of crazy.
Gosh.
So just to think about how much things have changed, even over 15 years, back when you had to have a college email address for
and you had like your
Facebook,
your top 8.
Your top 8 on MySpace, but I was literally messaging, I'm not going to say who the actors are, but legitimate actors, because people who had MySpace or Facebook, like it just was such a different time, and it wasn't, billions of people at that point. And that's how I got some of my first clients. Wow. So I feel like I've always tried to stay as savvy as I possibly can on social media. Now that I'm getting a little older, it's harder, especially like with TikTok, and there's just so much that we have to know when we're pitching some of these publications. Now they have internet trends editors and people who just focus on TikTok. It's a whole other facet of the business. And so it's something that as a company, even though the bulk of my clients are traditional actors from TV and film and scripted, we still are tapping into like, the social media influencer world as well, but also trying to be mindful of not just like the flash in the pan, someone who's just like hitting right now, but like
people with longevity.
That's right. And help them have a long career. And so that's also something that we're exploring and something that we're working, hard towards as well. It's very interesting.
It is. Well, and I think specifically as it comes to talent, right? And the creator influencer talent, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think a lot of them, yes, they have a moment, right? And they have this big thing happening in social only, but so many of them want that sort of acceptance or translation into the more traditional landscape, right?
Yeah.
And I think I think we both, right, have been sort of over the last 10 plus years have been kind of riding this weird thing where it's like, and I do finally think that it is accepted. It's like you can measure someone's stardom now in a way that, you couldn't when we were younger too.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, she's the hottest thing. And then like, okay, I believe you. But now, well, let me see how many followers she has and what,
But also what's really interesting is that now you could have 1 million followers and no one cares.
Yeah,
I
know.
It's like, okay, well, if you have 10 million followers or 15 million followers, but not only that, like people want to know what these people stand for and like what their story is. And so that's also part of it too. When we have these clients who want to do brand deals, everybody wants to do brand deals, but it's, what do you actually stand for? If somebody goes to your page and looks through your photos and looks through the things that you're posting, who are you?
What story is it telling?
Yeah, that's also something that we're looking at when we're, looking at potential clients or clients that we're currently representing, and helping sort of oversee that too. So it's a whole thing.
I love that. I mean, that word that I'm eye rolling because it comes up all the time and everyone eye rolls when they say it, but authenticity, right? And who is this talent authentically? Because you used to only see stars in, the paparazzi shots and that's how you knew what restaurants they ate at because they're coming out after dinner. Yeah. And now it's like we see them in their highest highs, their lowest lows. We know what they eat. We know what
whether
they
we
put
want
on their
to or
face.
not.
Right. We know what kind of underwear they're wearing.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So is there anything that you feel like you in general sort of advise to your clients when it comes to that social media kind of exposure, I guess, for lack of a better word?
Sure. Well, it's interesting because I don't pitch us as social media experts because we're definitely not. We work closely with the talent teams at all these social media platforms who do it all so much better than us because it is a whole job.
It's a strategy.
But I can look at someone's social media and I can be like, you have to archive this, 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 and this. Like, this is not going to resonate. If you want to be a fashion girl, like, don't be posting these types of things because these designers are not going to want to see that. And like, sometimes those are hard conversations that we have to have. But I have no chill. Like, we can talk about this later, but as a mom, like, I just have zero chill. Like, I will tell my clients exactly what I think. And if they want to hear it, great. If they don't, they don't have to either. But even just like over the last couple of years, really since COVID, now these actors or whoever's going to a red carpet, they hire a photographer to take their pictures before they go to the red carpet. And that's what they're posting. They're not even posting the red carpet photos anymore. That was something that was born out of COVID because we couldn't do red carpets, right? And now that's become the norm. That's brand new over the last 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, and you have control over those, right? It's 100%. Your own
100%.
photographer. It's your own lighting, right? It's not the like weird photo on the carpet that you don't have any control over.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I'm sure you see it too, like just with the events that you guys work on. Just little things like that you wouldn't even think of. Like they're just other facets of the job that we've had to integrate into like what we do.
And let's talk a little bit about sort of the court of public opinion when it comes to that, right?
Yeah.
Because I think like with all of this openness and sharing, it's just everyone has an opinion on everything, right? So I'd be curious, like, just your thoughts generally, and then maybe your thoughts on how you would advise clients if the public opinion comes after them, so to speak.
It's so hard because I just feel like for some cases you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I have a client who did a podcast recently, and there were pieces of that podcast that just got torn apart, and like just little things that this person said that were taken so out of context. And so it's like, how do you do publicity without being scared or without being so concerned about what you're saying is going to be completely misconstrued?
Taken out of,
And so that is something that we talk to a lot with our clients about. And not only that, but I think the format as well. So when you're doing a podcast, like you have an hour and a half to just say whatever you want to say versus like something where it's a very controlled setting where if you're only asked 4 or 5 questions or even like a late night show where
it's a 5-minute segment.
So I think that making sure that they're comfortable with whatever situation we're putting them in. And there's sort of like the things that haven't changed with PR over the years, media training, like that's something that we do with our clients, and sort of the more traditional aspects of our jobs that hasn't gone away. But the court of public opinion is tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate. Most of my clients are pretty like they're kind of in this safe area, like where they haven't done anything that's been really controversial. But I see with other people, I'm not going to like bring up, but you see like, you know, people that are in the headlines every single day and like their every move is watched. And I can't imagine what that's like. I mean, I can't imagine, but like, it's hard.
It's hard. I mean, it's like, is there such a thing as too much exposure? I mean, my answer would be absolutely, right? I mean, it's like, think about some of the biggest stars in the world, and it's, you don't do anything without, nothing in private. You can't lead a normal life. You can't go to the grocery store. You can't pick up your kids from soccer practice. Like, you know, it's wild.
That level of stardom is changing too. Yeah. I mean, that's something else that I read a lot of articles about. It's sort of like, you know, those big stars.
No, I know.
They're not, they don't exist anymore. There will always be sort of that, like, that generation, right? Of like, they already exist.
Yeah. Those are the mega stars, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, the Elvises, the Marilyn Monroes. I think we feel them a lot more in film and music, the Julia Roberts and the
Madonna.
Yes.
Yeah. I read an article about Tom Cruise the other day, like how he did all his own stunts in Mission Impossible, and like how there's no one who does that anymore, right? And so I think just the speed of which we get our information, the way that we get our information, you know, Instagram, TikTok, whatever platform you're on, X. I'm not on X, but you know, whatever it is, we're getting information so fast. And so it's like, it makes it almost impossible to control. Yeah. One. Yeah. And two, it's just so much easier and so much faster for the public to make an opinion on something.
It's public journalism.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
It's, you know, I mean, and I can imagine from your perspective, like breaking a story, if you have a client that has something that you need to break, like that's got to be so much harder now, you know, to just keep things contained, like whatever it could be, and it's hard to hold the power in your own hands, right? The public, it's like they own everything. They own us all.
Yeah, that's also it's so true. And that's also something that we talk to our clients about too. It's, you know, sometimes they'll be in a relationship, or if they have a baby, or these things that are very personal things like life events, right? And so, you know, we talk to them about like what you post on your social media. They feel like they have the right then to ask questions or to see your children. You know, some of my clients over the years who have like been in like high profile relationships or have had children and like they didn't necessarily want to put that in the press. Like those are also conversations that we have too, because I think that you open yourself up to so much more scrutiny if you're public like that. Even just walking on a red carpet with your partner and holding hands, you know, it like automatically gives people a window to say something, you know?
It truly does. And then, but then it's also, that's so sad because it's like you want to share things, but you want it to be on your own time, you know, your decisions to share. But it's true. If you put it out there, it's kind of fair game. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about entrepreneurship and building the business. What do you think has been the toughest lesson that you've learned along the way?
I have taken risks trying to make things work and then had them not work. For example, trying to open an office in Chicago. Why did I think that was a good idea? I love Chicago, but everything I do is in New York and LA or London. I invested money into that and it didn't work. I also, at some point, hired somebody just to handle social media for my clients. Again, terrible decision. The person I hired, amazing, but it just didn't work for my company. So I think that some of the toughest lessons I've learned have been trying to make things work that didn't necessarily make sense for my business at that time. I don't know if it'll make sense down the line because I'm always very open to having conversations, you know, with expanding or whatever the case may be. But like at the time when I did these things, it didn't work. So those were kind of tough lessons to learn. Also, you know, in the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. Like I never took business courses, so I had to make a lot of mistakes. Even just like having a goal and a vision for the company, I didn't have that until I probably was about 30 or 31 when I had my son, and then everything changed and I was like, okay, I need to get laser focused on what I'm doing here. But that was also just a tough lesson learned, like in those early years, like who are we? Like what do we stand for?
Well, and a lot of that I think does come with time, right?
100%.
It's like you can have, you know, I think like, and that's probably a reason why some people don't go out and start a business, because they think like, I have to have it all fucking mapped out and perfect. But like sometimes you just have to jump in. You got to figure out, what are you good at? What is your sweet spot? Where are those like little nooks and crannies that like you can find like the most value for your business, right? And don't you feel like it's also like it's ever evolving too?
Always. It's constantly evolving. It's constantly evolving with just my employees' success, with our clients' success, with just sort of what the vision is just for the company in general, where we want, like who we want to be working with, who we're representing. So it is a constant, I would say it's a constant work in progress. Truly. It's never done. And our jobs are never finished. You know, it's just constantly in motion, but that's also why I keep doing what I'm doing, because I like feed off of it. You know, it's like just that obsessive, like, you know, like that love for what you're doing.
Well, and no one ever wants to be complacent, right? It's like you're always striving for the next thing, and then you get there and you're like, okay, what's next?
It's a great thing to have that, but also
it's a gift
hard
and a curse.
A gift and a curse. It's a double-edged sword, because you want to be able to celebrate what you've achieved. Like when people are like, oh my gosh, you guys are crushing it, like you're doing so great, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have so much left to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like I've done nothing with my life.
I haven't slept in years.
So it's like you want to be able to celebrate that, but it's also a job never done. And I've never, you know, like I had a client who 1 year won Golden Globe, Critics' Choice, Emmys, and I'm like, but we don't have an Oscar. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just always something, you know? So it's a good thing to have, but also I have to personally work really hard at like celebrating the wins. You know?
You do. I'm the same way. And I think also too, it's like our business, it is cyclical, right? But do you ever find, like I find where there's two modes. There's either, holy shit, we are slammed, I have no time, who am I haven't peed today, oh my gosh, have I eaten in 3 days? Like that mode, to like, oh my god, we're so slow, what's happening, there's nothing on my calendar, oh my gosh, like no one's returning my right? And then and then it's like,
it's so manic.
And then
it's like you should be like, oh my gosh, I have a couple
time
weeks.
I should go take a trip. But it's so hard.
I literally yesterday made a doctor's appointment. I was like, I've been trying to make this doctor's appointment for months. But
I think it's hard to just kind of sit with that, and then you get busy again, you're like, damn it, I should have taken that trip, or I should have gone and got that massage in the middle of a Wednesday, or 100%. Whatever it is, you know.
I would love to do that. That sounds like a dream.
Okay, we'll do it.
I don't know when, next year.
2026.
And I think also, because you and I both have kids, right? Like all I do is work and then kid stuff. That's it. There's no in between. There's no time for me, right? Like it's literally just, I'm with my clients, or I'm with my staff, or I'm at a baseball game for my son. So it's like, you know, there's no time. There's no time. But I was telling my husband this the other day, because I had to go to a premiere. I don't even remember what I was at. I can't remember what I did yesterday, but I had to go to something. And he was like, can't you send somebody to that? And I said, I could, but I want to be there. Like, I love this client. Like, I want to be there. So it's like, if I didn't want to be here.
Totally.
I wouldn't. You know, if I didn't want to live in this chaos, controlled chaos, I wouldn't do it.
I have the most amazing team in the world, right? I'm sure you feel the same about yours. And it, you know, and it takes years and time to grow the team and grow their skills and all those things. But sometimes there are just those moments where you are the face of the company.
Yeah.
And it's, yes, I would love to send someone else, yes, I would, but like, and that person's probably still going to go, but I'm coming with them
That's
too,
right.
Yeah. And yeah, because I want to be there, because the clients are important, because those relationships are important.
That's right.
And I think speaking of relationships, I know that many of your clients you've had for years and years and years and years, right? So I love your POV on like broadly the importance of relationships, because your job is like that, it is relationships.
Yeah. I feel grateful every day for my clients that have been with me for a long time. I think when you go into a new relationship with a client, for me, my intention is to hopefully be on the team for the long term, until I'm done doing this. And I'm not going to be done for a long time.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I've been really fortunate. And not only that, but one of the most rewarding parts about my job is when I start with someone from the beginning, or maybe not even the beginning. Maybe there's somebody who's already established, but being so invested in them and their career.
Yeah.
And becoming so entrenched in that, and then seeing the success and knowing that you have a hand in it. And I'm sure with your business, there's nothing better than that. It's like, that's why we do what we do. But so much of my business is relationship based. It's that personal relationship with the client, with their teams, with the media, with, again, these publicists that we work with on the other side, with the studios, networks, or whoever, labels, like whoever we're even on the fashion side, like all these different people, right? So your relationships are huge. And I always tell my team, especially for some of my young publicists that are working at the company, I'm like, this person's never going to give you a meeting if they don't know you, if they don't know who you are, your story, that you're a good person. I mean, the company, I think we have a really great reputation in the business, but they still have to know who you are.
Well, and I think, like, again, our roles are like so kind of, I'm pitching to you, you're pitching to me, right? And our teams are pitching to each other. And I think that is because it's, if someone sees an email that they know, right, it's just it's an automatic thing. And so there's nothing that actually excites me more, because again, I love like seeing the young class come up, right? The next gen. Yeah. And if someone reaches out and says, hey, I don't know you, but I just started working, I'm making this up, but I just started working with Jordyn, and like the team loves working with Cultivated, like want to introduce, like, that is a game changer for me, right? It's just those like little teeny things. And on the flip side, right, I always encourage, like, reach out, establish yourself, because we're more than just fucking email addresses. Yeah. And I think your and I's generation, like, there was so much more in person, right? You were either in person or you were on a phone call.
On the phone. I always tell them, just pick up the phone.
I know.
Just call.
I know. But then sometimes when you pick up the phone, they're like, can you send me an email about this? You're like,
I know.
Yes, I will put this in an email. Yeah. But also, do you have 3 minutes to just like talk about this so that you have some context? But it's interesting how that has changed. I think we're so much more efficient, right? Like, you can get so much more done because you're not sitting like behind the phone, like just dialing all day. But I don't ever want to lose that like, for me, people are everything, right?
Even just the tone. It's like, I feel like, as I write my emails very short, and it wasn't always like that, but now I'm so freaking busy. Like, we were just before we started talking about how many emails we get in a day. So like, my emails are very short. Yeah. So sometimes you just have to pick up the phone and be like, I'm a real person over here. Yeah. My kid is sick. I'm sick. Like, this is what's happening. Sometimes there's that human side of it that I think can get lost in an email. And like, it just, so I think that sort of that art of talking to people face to face, or just picking up the phone, this younger generation coming up, they have to work a little harder at that, I feel, because like, I just think they grew up in a different time. It's like, we didn't have cell phones, or if we did, it was like a brick.
No, you said
like,
pagers in the beginning.
I had a pager.
Pager code, right?
I had a pager. Like,
143, baby.
877, whatever. Like, we had pagers, and like, we had these phones that would run out of minutes, and like, we didn't have text message. Like, I remember when I had a BlackBerry, because Oprah had a BlackBerry, and I was,
I had a BlackBerry too.
Yeah, and we had to get rid of our BlackBerries to get an iPhone. And I was like, like, how am I going to use that button in the middle? So it's just, I think that like, for this other, this younger generation, like, I have, 20-somethings that work for me, and they grew up with social media. They grew up with cell phones. They grew up with all these things where, it's a different type of communication. And not to say that it's not valuable, because it is. Like, I text message all day long, like, from my computer. I was texting you earlier from my computer, but it's, there's something that's really nice to just be able to pick up the phone and be like, hey, this is what's going on. especially when we're putting out fires all day long, you know?
Yeah,
So
I know.
I'm like, I need this money for this. Like, can you just pay for this flight, please?
But yeah, I think especially when you're trying to get something done, right? It's like going
My
back
job
and
is
forth
my professional beggar. Please pay for this glam. I just need another $500 for this makeup artist.
Yeah.
Please, I need per diem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know, and all the budgets for that stuff is just less and less.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's a habit that you have, like either in your personal life or in your business life, that has made all the difference in everything that you do?
I practice zero inbox strategy, and people don't know what that is, but I literally lose sleep if I have more than 5 emails in my inbox. Yes. So I get, on average, I'd say 600 to 800 emails a day. It's kind of unsustainable. I like to have zero, like actual zero emails in my inbox. So that's either I've responded, I've filed it away. I have a folder that's like things to do. So it's in my things to do for the next day. I don't always get there, but I try.
Yeah,
but I try.
I'm the same. It feels like if there's ever anything lingering, then I can't just like fully rest, right, and get on with the next day. And I'm also not a procrastinator.
Yeah.
I think maybe when I was younger I was, but like to the point you said earlier, there is no time, right? Time is so precious. So, you know, if something needs to be done, it's like I output it immediately, because otherwise I forget. If I don't write it down, like it's kind of gone. But I love that.
And I do write things down.
Yeah.
So I do zero inbox strategy. I have a notebook. I write everything down.
And cross it off.
And then
when it's
this
done.
is either good or bad. Yes, and I have a Sharpie.
Oh, yeah.
Like I cross out with a Sharpie.
So satisfying.
But I also have a paper calendar. Now, if something happened to this calendar, I would not know where to go tomorrow.
Yeah.
I would just be like, I'm lost. Because I have my personal stuff on my phone, like with my kids' stuff, but I also have my paper calendar, because just writing it down, being able to erase, write it in a pencil, there's just something about that.
Yep.
I just can't let it go.
Yeah.
And my husband's like, why don't you put it all on your phone? I'm like, I can't. I can't.
We used to have these like big calendars that I had made that I put on the walls that, like, for all of the projects and stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel you. The digital virtual calendar was very hard for me to adapt to.
Do you think it's our age?
Well, I guess, but I think what it comes down to is, like, I remember being probably high school was the earliest, right? Where you had your planner, and that was where you wrote like what you were going to do and what your homework was. And writing it down also just puts it right into my memory too. Like typing it is one thing, but I think if I physically write like hang with Jordyn, 7 p.m., I will never forget that.
Yeah.
I know that I'm hanging with Jordyn at 7 p.m. So,
and your kids are too young for this, but my son is going into 4th grade. And so the back half of 3rd grade, they give them those planners.
Yeah.
And so they have to write every single thing.
Yeah.
And then we have to sign off on it at night. So they're still teaching kids how to do that.
Yeah.
So, which I think is really great, because I think there's sort of that lost art of writing things down and physically having to do that. So there are little things that I do like that are just like an everyday strategy, I feel.
I used to do the same thing. This is the first time that I've had an assistant in my inbox. And like when it's the right person, it is absolutely brilliant.
It would probably change my life, honestly.
It has changed mine. Like it is incredible. So you have 2 kids.
I do.
I have 2 kids. Crazy.
You did it back to back. And I
I
waited.
did it 10 months I think is physically and actually the closest.
Was that planned?
God, no. No.
I feel like we never really talked about it.
I know. Well, it was like COVID times. There was 72 hours of complete and utter just panic. But I was only 6 weeks postpartum. So I was still just, you're not feeling in your body. You're like, your hormones are still not balanced. Like your brain is still foggy, right? So weirdly, I think that actually just made it easy, because I was like, all right, well, let's just keep rolling with this,
Yeah.
And then, I think it just took me a lot longer to like physically get my, and not even just the weight loss, but I think just like the actual like structure of my body, right? Like after, because I was pregnant for 2 years straight.
Yeah, it takes years.
So
people don't understand that. Like it takes, I would say 3 years, because you're pregnant for 9 months and then you have this baby. My daughter's going to be 3 in September, and I feel like it took me a solid 2 years after she was born to start feeling like myself.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
fully.
that's spot on. I think when my youngest turned 2, at least that was when I looked in the mirror and was like, okay, I'm ready to like kind of take this back.
Get my life together.
Yeah. Well, because you're not putting that first, right?
Yeah.
You're putting everyone else's oxygen mask on before yours, which, you know, is also very much like entrepreneurship, right? I think entrepreneurship is a version of motherhood, right? It's always constantly looking around corners and taking care of everyone and planning, and you're well suited to be a great mom when you can run a business, right?
Yeah. Multitasker.
Yeah. Real talk. Like, what have been some of the biggest challenges being a mom and running a business?
I think that there's not a real balance.
Yeah.
Like, people talk about balance.
Agree.
Something it suffers, whether it's the business, whether it's your family. Like, you can't, it's like you're constantly trying to balance, but it's very difficult. I do try to be a good example for my team, because I have team members that either want to be parents or they're becoming parents. And so I work really hard to be a good example of somebody who can do this and also be a mom. You know, there's not a lot of publicists that I can think of that are parents, because it's so hard in PR too. Like, just to like have your own family, have kids, like when we are constantly out with our clients, like weekends, nights. And so I think that, you know, for me, one of the biggest challenges is like not being around as much, but also as I've gotten older and as my team has expanded, I've, you know, worked hard to be able to relinquish some of that control and to delegate, to go to the bigger things. Like, that's why you'll see me at the Golden Globes or the Emmys or like some of these bigger moments, but I won't necessarily go to every podcast, right?
Yeah. And
so just trying to figure out where I'm needed most, and then any extra time or whatever time I'm not working, I'm with my family.
Yeah.
So I'm not out just like grabbing drinks for like shits and giggles. Like, I'm literally at home with my kids, and there's nowhere else I'd rather be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but balance is freaking hard, man. It's hard. It's a constant, again, like work in progress. And there's something, you know, my son, he'll just be like, Mom, you're always working. And so I think that like I just kind of have this hope that when he's older, he'll appreciate it and know why I worked so hard, so that I could give them a great life and like, you know, be a great example, you know, for them of just somebody who worked really hard and built something from nothing. I mean, that's part of it too. Like, I've literally built this from nothing.
You can't have mom guilt, right? Like, it's, you have to just.
There's no time for it.
No, correct. Yeah. It's, you have to be the best version of yourself when you can be the best version of yourself, whether that's boss, you know, or mom.
You live a dual life. Like, I feel like I live a dual life. I live my LA life. I'm in New York. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. But then I have like my mom life.
Yeah, because you have to be soft and kind and patient. And then, but the other life, you have to be, you know,
where's my money? Where's my budget? The last couple weeks have been especially crazy for me. And like, I've missed bedtime. I've missed dinner like multiple times. And like, I really hate the days when it's like 2 or 3 days in a row where I'm gone. Like, I'm out before they're up and I miss bedtime. But then I'll have 2 or 3 days where I'm home and like I just cherish those moments so much. So there's a balance. And again, like, it's weird because I am obsessed with my job. I'm like obsessed with my work, and like that was like my first baby. And so persona is this extension of like who I am as a person. And so it's like I don't necessarily even have guilt. It's like I don't even have mom guilt.
No, that's
what
I mean.
There's like
it can't exist.
No, but it's because it's like this company and my clients I consider to be like family to me. I mean, it's business, but I'm very, you know,
your business is another child.
100%.
And your employees are, I mean, they're not children, but like it's a responsibility that you hold just as great as your family life.
And I'm so invested in their well-beings too, and making sure that, I mean, that's also, you know, the evolution of the business, you know, even just like in 2020, I like rolled out a 401k plan and like did all of that. And then, you know, just like the health insurance, all the things that it takes to really run like a corporate business. It's like, I don't do that just for me. Like, I do that for them.
Yeah. We have such similar perspective on that. We've always had
very similar, I think,
values and ethics.
Yeah,
no, I agree. In closing of every one of these episodes, we talk a little bit about joy and what that means, right? I think it's something that sometimes in moments of our life we lose sight of. So I'm curious, like in thinking about the word joy, what brings you back to yourself the most?
I mean, I do think that when you're working as much as we work, you have to be very intentional about finding those things that bring you joy, right? I mean, I think that there's joy in just my kids every day. My son got Student of the Month, you know, and so that was such an amazing thing because he had a really hard time in school this year. And so he worked really, really hard. And so like, even though that's about him, like I had so much joy in that. We went and saw the Savannah Bananas this weekend, and like the joy I had
exuding
there.
joy.
Oh my gosh. Like to be in a crowd of 45,000 people that were just so happy to be there. Like it was so joyful, you know? And so that was amazing. Even just getting dinner with my parents. Like I'm very fortunate. My parents are here and they live close by. And so just having like a glass of wine with them. And I really try to not take certain things for granted.
Any advice that you would give to anyone who is either just breaking into the industry or wants to break into the industry or I don't know, maybe it's just at like a crossroads in their life?
Yeah. I think that specifically if you want to work in entertainment, don't give up because I just feel like this is a really tough business. But if you know whatever it is that you want to do is what you're meant to do, you have to keep pushing and moving forward. You know, we have persevered, you as well, through COVID, which was crazy. The amount of things that the standards we were held to just to even go back to work.
I know.
And then we went through strikes.
I know.
Like your business as well as mine have been so impacted by those things. And if we could have given up.
I know.
At any point.
Yeah.
So many of my friends, makeup, hair, talent bookers, all these people, right, who could not work after we just came out of COVID, you know, we could have given up. And instead, I just was like, okay, well, who can I represent? What new business can I find? And we started signing showrunners, directors, authors, not necessarily writers of TV and film, but books. You know, that's when we really did a big pivot to creators. And so we just had to evolve the business. So I think just, it sounds so cliche and I hate to say it, but like, don't give up and also find something that you're good at and nurture that because, you know, you may be doing something and if it's not 100% for you, that's okay. Find something that you're really good at and do that. Yeah. And that's something I've learned a lot with employees too. Like sometimes somebody will come in and want to work for me or want to do talent PR and they'll do 3 months. And I'm like, listen.
This is not, I'm like, we need to pivot you to this.
Yes. This is not for you, but you are really good at this, this, and this. And so if you want to go out and get a job doing those things that I can already see you're so good at that, go chase that, you know? So, and I think that, you know, part of being an entrepreneur, a mentor, you know, like just seeing what people's strengths are and trying to nurture that in them. That's also something that, you know, I'm really passionate about and love about my job too. So don't give up, guys. You can do it. Never give up.
Yeah.
Never surrender.
What a hell of a way to end there. Jordyn, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
It means the world. Like, thank you for sharing your story and
You're
for all the
welcome.
like amazing advice. Can you tell everyone where can we find you? How can we follow you?
You can find me on Instagram at Jordyn Palos. And then you can find the company at Persona PR. And then our website is persona-pr.com.
Amazing.
So that's where you can find us.
And thank you everyone for listening to another episode of Cultivated Conversations. We want to hear from you, so please send us an email. Say hi at CultivatedENT. Tell us what you think about the show, who you want to hear from. And thank you so much for tuning in today. Until next time, bye.